I welcome Dr. Richard Ahiaba to mount the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I join in the apology for your long delay. Thank you for coming. We have called you this afternoon to talk about the negligence of the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, that has led to the loss of lives of some 11 or more people at the Anglo Gold Ashanti mines in Obuasi and Newmont in a related violence. This, in our view, is a very important matter that some of you in the media have talked about, but we think that it requires the attention of all of us as a people to nip this in the bud. Those souls that died or perished on that day needn't be dead as we speak. They had a chance to be alive, except that the NDC and the leadership of their party, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, were negligent. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, please, if you will indulge me, since we are live, let's just take about 10 seconds to observe silence in the memory of these people who have lost their lives under these very strange and difficult circumstances. Just 10 seconds. May their souls rest in peace. Again, before I go on, let me stop here and extend the sincere condolences of our party, all of our membership, our leadership, to the families and friends of these Ghanaians who happen to be members of the National Democratic Congress who perished on Sunday, the 19th of January. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC resorted to violence immediately following the peaceful elections on December 7th, which election they won, the presidential and the legislative election they won, and the new Patriotic Party, led by our flag bearer, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, considered defeat appropriately and congratulated then President-elect John Dramani Mahama, now President of the Republic, and the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration cooperated with them duly to supervise a very historic transition on the 7th of January 2025. Notwithstanding the MPP's goodwill and support for the NDC leadership and the president-elect at the time, they looked on while their members took the laws into their hands to attack, terrorize, and violate Ghanaians. The NDC and its grassroots had ignored all calls to stop the violence. Instead, violence, the NDC party was acting and attacked electoral commission officers and personnel. They attacked and abused police officers and police installations. They attacked government institutions. And recently, as we are talking about today, in Obuasi, when the incorrigible thugs of the NDC thought that they could invade a private company, which sadly resulted in this bloodshed that we're talking about. All of these violent incursions by the NDC thugs and grassroots members received the tacit support of the NDC leadership and President John Dramani Mahama. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, you remember many of these attacks. Many of these attacks. The plot was to show you some of these videos, but I'm very much aware that you have them. You have copies. We watch them on your screens. Some of them you reported online. We watched them. So you are aware of these videos that I'm talking about. But as time goes on, if you can show them to you, we'll key them up for you to see. But many of these violent instances you are aware of. I'll just take a minute to outline a few. If we get a video, you watch them. But it started with attacks on the EC offices, destruction of pink sheets and related electoral materials and evidence in constituencies the NDC knows they've lost. And police installations also came under attack, and you recall the infamous attack at the Tema Central police station, with the pressure on police to declare the NDC winners of that seat. At the end of the day, you have seen where the result has gone, but the NDC at the time, with their leadership, tacitly encouraging its people to go and rampage these state institutions and security installations. And the strange thing was that the police could not do anything under the pressure and the inducement of the NDC leadership for their thugs to attack these security posts. The NDC thugs attacked the following institutions after President Mahama took office. Now, outside of the ones that he did following the elections, especially in the parliamentary elections, in about some 12 or so constituencies which they know they lost, but then wanted to insist the result to be declared for them, after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, took office, they carried on, and his administration watched and did nothing. I want to tell you about the attack in the New Jobbing Municipal Assembly. This happened in broad daylight. The government, then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. The thugs from the NDC, again, they stormed Tor, the Tema Oil Refinery. They sacked all the employees and locked up the premises. This happened in broad daylight, and the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked Cocoa Board offices. This happened in broad daylight, and the NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked the Ministry of Energy, threatening the workers there, threatening the lady who was manning the reception that if she would not cooperate with them, they would sack her from the place. The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. His party did nothing. The NDC thugs again burned down police installations in Adra and Atebubu. The NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was aware, they knew about it, they did nothing. Again, the NDC thugs attacked the Eastern Regional Offices of the National Health Insurance Authority, the National Service Secretariat, the School Feeding Secretariat, the TVET, and the National Lottery Authorities. These were happening in broad daylight, yet the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. Now, I wanted you to follow these instances and see where it culminates to a point where the people think, the NDC thugs think that they could not be stopped, they could not be touched, and that they are invincible, that they can do whatever they want. And their government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and their party, led by Chairman Asedu Nketia, and the General Secretary, Mr. Fiavi Fifi Koite, would do nothing. And they carried on. The conduct by the NDC members with full knowledge, as I indicated earlier, of the party leadership and the president-elect at the time and now President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. They knew what their party members were doing, but they urged them on with their silence. They urged them on. And as we all know, they say silence is consent. And in this particular instance, they needn't say anything. They were just watching, and their members knew what message they were sending. Carry on, and indeed, they carried on with the violence. I am aware of, and probably you too are aware of, some letters they issued belatedly. But between you and I, we know those letters were just for the optics. They didn't issue them in good faith for their members to stop the violence. It was just for you and I to think that they were doing something. It was skirmishes, it was not honest, it was not intended to stop them. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC must take responsibility for this gruesome murder of the 11 or so people that happened in Obuasi. And incidentally, the people that were killed, very painfully, happened to be members of the National Democratic Congress. The NDC in this instance failed to protect and save the lives of these Ghanaians who are members of their party on the occasion when they died. They failed to protect and save them because they failed to lead, they failed to show leadership, they failed to tell them the truth, they failed to caution them that in this country there are laws. You can't just up and go anywhere just because your party has won an election and therefore terrorize and take over private setups as though they were yours. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the implication of this conduct by the NDC people, because we are all mourning, which is why I'm wearing black today, we will not go into it, but they have that particular conduct, the one that happened at the AGA premises, has real implication for foreign direct investment in our country. And that is something the NDC ought to know. But they preferred to allow their politics to go ahead of the national interest. And so they failed to caution and advise their members as the lawlessness possessed their political party. It spilled over, and in Obuasi on the 19th, we saw the rather regrettable, the rather avoidable, and the painful exit of those members of their party. So in essence, it is the failure of the NDC leadership, including His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in their legitimate duty of cautioning and advising their people to desist from the lawlessness that has led to the painful loss of lives of these young people. The silence of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC indeed urged their thugs on in the rampage that we see, which unfortunately culminated in the loss of lives that we're talking about. They felt invincible, as I said earlier, untouchable and unstoppable. The bloodshed in Obuasi could have been avoided had the NDC cautioned their members against the violent rampage after the December 7th election, which they won. The grassroots, ladies and gentlemen, of every political party, and I want to make this point very clear, the grassroots of every political party, for that matter, any member of a political party will take directives from the leadership of the party, no matter what the situation. So if it were the case that the NDC called on their members to desist from the violence, honestly, they would have done it. But because they failed to do that, their members took the cue that the silence of their leaders meant that they carry on. They carry on, and which is the reason why we are where we are, and sadly, having to talk about the loss of lives in this case. The NDC is running around talking about some loss of lives, which is painful in elections. We want to let them know that the loss of lives, whether they are their members or not, they are Ghanaians, and this is regrettable, and this ought to be avoided. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will have to take responsibility for this squarely and fairly. It is because it is their inactions that led to their death on the 19th of January. We would like, ladies and gentlemen, to call on the Ghana Police to conduct its investigations and ensure justice is served expeditiously. We also want to warn the police not to engage in any backroom deals with the John Mahama administration to shield anyone in this matter. We need to emphasize that point because from every evidence we have discussed with you here, the responsibility for this unfortunate passing or slaughter of our fellow Ghanaians who are members of the NDC in Obuasi on the 19th of January 2025 is as a result of the negligence of the NDC and the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And so, they shouldn't engage in any backroom deals to kind of discolor the investigation, make it appear as though that it was an unfortunate thing, something that has happened. We don't want the police to engage in any backroom dealings with the government to cover up for anyone so that we don't see justice in this matter. It shouldn't be the case that they are their members, so they will cover this up. We are interested in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we are interested in justice for these NDC members, and we hope His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will not shield or attempt in any way, shape, or form to clear anyone who is culpable in the supervision of the slaughter of these Ghanaians who are members of their party. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. The Ayer Kanini say, December 7th, yetu aba, nyina yenim say Ghana yetu aba December 7th, no. The Koba nyina ni say MPP, abano ankwa mayen, eba presidential no a NDC for ne winnie ye papa John Dramani Mahama no winnie abano. And parliamentary so omu wini dodo. And in terms of MPP, Kaidini, Frank Etuni, His Excellency John Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, consider. Yeah, dear, a bin sida. In terms of consider. In Tinaya, sir, Sabane Sadi, Ani Asumdre, said the about one of course mu na resort in the bands in 10 terms of MPP. Yankasa internal coalition, Yanchama, AC, and Fan, and we didn't Sabamba. Yankasa, a dra now, so a share numbers only who say, and Koyamai, and the Ebeka say, Papa Mahama winning, enti, the Amano. Nanado Danko Kufado are buying, the dra now so support to Yema transition, a course, January 7, Papa John Dramani Mahama, a bedia dia or ne president of Ghana. Yet to a banny, no. Media for cameras na capture said the NDC for start ya bru nipa EC for na ye bromo ye come office na ye hye ma police stations na ye hye pink sheet aye ade a edi adanse ye say wona we win na so NDC for afa ni nyina no mu etete nyoma basa ye from so mbra coalition waba makogina ho say ye be ya ade na fe de omo tax aba na manfo krokra tuo a branch bi a omokuo nim ene yesi yamano appointment why no young man no the two pump action dan kam lawlessness, complete recklessness, and omode take Ghana ha abram we win election ye nyina ni manya ku na mo ye ya ba na ye nyina akoto na mo wini asumdue yenkoso na Ghana enkoreni but omode sa basa yo yi e de hya ase ko sie obi anka ho hwe ye papa John Dramani Mahama no ye fun no otie no ohwe omo party mpanifo ye fun no mutie no mo hwe na de course a enti umrante o party ni mo no abeti omo ho ase so ade yi omo party na aba enti de omba ye bia omba tumi aye oma ya kosi mo mpanifo anka hwe enti ababa ye suban a abeda omo so to mo sori a aban edwuma bia no makoto ahye omo so mumpie me sure say mo hwe de si Kumasi Sports Stadium a me refi kura man kanka ho sa de no wo hwa enye ye oba ko fo afatuo no nam office pie sa de e bi nsi da empo se bi esi etwemu a enye se ye be koso sa NDC form penifo anka hwe the former president John Dramani Mahama no wo hwe no wo tie sa obeteki power so say ya na NDC for edit na yakọ to na yaka kire mo say mumpie ba ko amete ye VRA omukọ ye junior staff wo ho efre senior staff say mumbra afi de ya ba na aba they were issuing instruction to the senior staff as though say company no abedi omonsa yanka hwe NDC for ye hwe ha ama omumrante no terrorize Ghana for terrorize government institution omo terrorize police station mo kaya dwura yeshi ni drobe yanka hwe police anya hwe rapa dan pare se o Ghana how so ni how NDC for e de mrane show mu nsem be mema okrom ha obi ani ha obaka bibia o metie enti sabe suban wo party ni mu dia yenso so yete obo ase yenso be ye bi mokai omo women organizer meeting a oyeye e ka kire omo se oh ya ban ba mu te say ya declare ya papa Mahama na be bia mo pe bia mu take you mo fa chisel ne hammer na mo nko gold mine ho ye nia Captain Smart ono de end yes akwa ye nsem bi tin pese meka but ono so kase bi oka ye mu media fo nsem bi amokeka na kwa say bebre na say oh your party we party we na emra constitution dey am say munni asem no mo na moye the fourth realm of the state no mo making sure say mo be hold politicians accountable no after dey bebre na o media ni mu abejoin politicians no na kama NDC na ka omo ya dey nka na rationalize it and ekofa bae enti mranti a mo ye Ghana for do omo ye NDC for there but enam say sa suban ne course fi December 7th sa kosi a obi anka hwe yanche obi a yampanish obi enti no mo so say obi a omo nyina ye na yanye hwe a yenso yenko ye bi na fofi anto ata na yante asempa nipa be 9 10 11 ene ye ku omo e bi si new month enso so mrante ni bi so ko se ko to show omo so say ya ba nti ye ba baje sa ane ye tena mamu Fourth Republic democracy ye sa na ye no nyemra na ye de ye ben this for ye hwe ha momumra te no ye se on betumi afa bibia no mu na yante asempa sa eyi ko bae nti de efrem a na ye kan de se NDC mpanifo from your papa Asiedu Nketia oko omo general secretary Fifi Kote na president His Excellency John Dramani Mahama omo negligence and akofa weyaba omo tacit support for the lawlessness that possess omo party no omo ntumi anka ho hwe yes say bene ebu ne say yes peni ofie na yes say ya na ewi na anka na ye kan na anka wefo a omo so ka ho bi bajo nyesa oma ye hwe ha wo party nim o man nim His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wan yaku ye to aba na yi wo afede sa violence ye free hin no mo ntuma nka hwe na ada no omo members akwakowu esan say ye the violence na hye omo party ni mu women organizer ka kire mo say ye nya we nipa mo de mo take the law into mo nsem na mo nkọ bebia mo pebia na de mo pebia mo nkọ fan free ho sa na tie ena ya antia sampa enti ye frɛ His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so mo take responsibility na omo take responsibility no so no ma nya omo say omo ni police for ba kwa tena ho ni akeye kataso mu aso na bone e course so e ku nipa san krofo no omo ye NDC for there but omo onanfofo omo ye MPP for omo wo krofo a I say omo emfa party ho a omo so eni omo e wo twaka enti so omo wu a nya NDC for na ahwere de nyina Ghana for na ahwere ti mo ko e kataso mu aso bia emfa asemu yi nkoye foolish case na nipa na ewu no ye baako nipa 11 na ewu enti ye kase police for nyo madwuma akokurudo so emre bi atwa mu no mo kasa bebre ate enne no omo nya adwuma me enti ne yenhwe yenso ye ni die kire papa na mo make sure say bebia asem no beko no omo adi bone no ye ma emra no ani omo ndi ni pepepe na ehon so ya frɛ ye papa John Dramani Mahama ya ka kire ne say police for na beba ne ho aka so ye be moamo aso akata so a na ana se ono ne be call mo ho a onka ehunu se ye ni die kire ye mpese ye bete se otua na mo bi e de akova obi ana se otua na mo bi e de akle obi omoma police for no nye investigation no na result wo mu no onfambra na Ghana fo nyina ne ye nhwe ne ye mfa nsu ade na omo adi bone no ye ntwe omaso da mo nyina sese mo bai. I hope so there's no question. Just two questions, yes. Well, I'm saying I'm more able to only the NA2. Say, Ebema Ghana phone yina to say a dear course no, and yet now I didn't know a course in no, and quite a brim they can't catch the NDC for say, Momo, any or Mon Crawford and Yakas actually, but oh my yet. And he, anybody actually now investigation and move and do December bano. na asotwe a wo mu no ye behwe se omo a edi bone no ye betwe omaso na aye mfato ho ama afoforo a ahwe a mba besua sa de bone we efiri omo ho no na omo gyae se be ya ade we ebi nsi bio nti anamo a betu no eno no ya se party ye bedi ekire pa na ya make sure se ebra no ebe ye adwuma
and they are 2017, you see them, and now any police reform, every year, Katasuma, and I used to 19 one for town for free, or fly, you do a massive. One for the marble, one for book or a bravo. And they are the same as the 18 Hama, who was Casana.
There, Manubusu American and say, Omoa Akoye Amani Pay Wusano. Safo no police for investigation no ema twe safo na so eno na ya asem adapo no so we dia wo kan ye no asem na ye focus on na asem so na ye fending kom
2016 yes 2020 yes this time around yes 2028 say MVP winner possibly but yes how should we end this match? Because honestly, the way it's going, whenever the government changes over, people told us we are in power. In 2016 it happened. And into 2017 it happened. How should we stop this? Because I don't know the day, we have blame game, no? Now, I shift back, not go for that, go for that shit.
Yeah, ejina hai mati dia okana se ejina enye blame game ne ye no kura ne ye ka se nipa ewu police for nso say ye investigation omumfa emunsembra ene ya ka kire papa John Dramani Mahama say mon ko ekata so mo aso so pese sa di etutwa on make sure say on e di bone sa asem yi mu no e be twa maso na asem we etutwa bin sibiom Ghana ha ti ni abre pa say be make sure say justice will be served in this matter na omo a e di bone no e be twa maso pepepe.
Yes sir. Are you
by insisting the anti-vigilante law was passed? Because your party members, some of them, when you speak to them, they feel that you are restraining them so much and they would want to react to what the NDC is doing.
Yeah, there Abraham come sure some party, but the opposite candidate say ana MPP you see or member your party ni mu and na omo de omo ayefo na NDC for to ahye nkrofo so ayebro mo emra na ye di adwuma MPP ya tia say emra tia say party board vigilante ne di aka no but the NDC for emfa mra nya adwuma eno ne yehu enti no mu nyina Ghana for masomo amanimu na asem we nyina si enti muma mani nko ho monka bi media for monka bi asem no enkoyi a monka bi na say we have mehu mo meyi mo logos mehu motimu studio morning show na asem na madane asem nani but say yes na be asem a ye nyina na etimu Ghana ha enti muma ye nyina nka no kure ye fa no kure nya adwuma na Ghana sumdue nkoso ntra because election ya December 7 before I be call no bia aye tense say ye ntia sempa but e ba ye de ne ba call na sumdue so senkanye NDC for na ma omo members etusha man for so terrorization yoma because election way will be one of the most peaceful elections in the history of this Fourth Republic and tie besre say media for no yesre mo bodwuma ne say enkoyi a mo beka but na say mu de akwakoye say enkoyi a mo mpese mo beka de enti aba ne sa no ye enti ase ye ne mo be adwuma they are making sure say ye di ye betu ye they are making sure say the political class is held accountable say yen susu a hold us accountable say NDC for hold them accountable but mo media ni bi me share logos no na say die ababa ye gospel or ye bone kura mo nkan ma hwemu na ma preaching foforo yesre so mo making sure say ye de no kure ebe ye dwuma na Ghana akonenim timi da say am say question ni na what dem ba oni a nkasa anabi mpacho hwe ni ye efia ye ona anabi wo hanti no oka okay
same Musa said, election, MPP party, city candidates, EG2 winter. Who just said, no till a man, MPP for NDC for react here now because so a lot of police centers, a lot of police centers now.
Please.
MPP phobia. I didn't know about.
Well, Mpacho, yenye kom kakra. The tenant say, "Ade o dia na de mawa, unko hu bio." Ensa na te. Ade ye o dia. Say yesi yemfa ma wana obeko. Yesi o dia dia mawo. Yesa support wa ma wa transition aba be di usa fully. Nti ntokwa okui ase ne say. Nyansa bi enim, sebi. Nyansa bi enim. Nyina so bi enim. Ase ni zifo akukukusa. MPP nke yenye sa. Enti ye baba Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia concession oye no. Papa. Se be boa ma democracy. All kanokra no kan say tension na e wo wiase nyina ye nyina ye ko election mu na manfo suro no. Oh yes, a concession no. E manoma ba fo mprekope. Ma manfo hunu say Ghana ya gi democracy ato. Na ka say NDC fo so dey side democracy kura be edwuma no manfa nye. Enti ni nyina e de yemfa nso NDC fo. Yemfa nso ai papa John Dramani Mahama. Any e papa say dun ketia ne be hu say all your moves be the all you say ye hu but ni nyina no boni o madi I say leadership as o mu show o man show no e no na akofa we mu nyina aba amo kire say o monye democrat o ma kire say aba ye 2 years odue so de tumi ma o mo no o mani anso na o munya ya anka nkomo de patapa na nka ba beje o man no but Ghana for e ma eni nna ho na NDC for de o monye nkrofo a e say e jaja o mo say make sure say be so jagu o mu chem ntira be stress mu media no mu mwa yen enkoye se MPP for the yeka mu nyina me enka because Ghana no nyina ye de na e be gina hai NDC for asem de yeka o NDC for na akoko lusu o mo nkwa de yeka ho asem ade ne MPP ye na because etia onyonko ho a etia duam aye ohawa abeto o mo so no ade se Ghana ni ana Ghana for na ewu no ye fa ne se yankasa ye nkrofo na ewu no kasafo no be enche bia no be start abadwane MPP because party no mo no was I when we say nkotoko esisi na say mu be 2 days ago bole president Nangasa Krum ya sheshe ni oma sheshe ja ya won say ono Nangasa ni family house kura ahwa on be to ahye ho what they say nkrofo yin democrat NDC for yin democrat mo ya patapafo yen nananom at the beginning of this fourth republic and the excess from international pressure by ya no mojitu mo say be democracy what the to kasa omo no nya ya nka patapa no nkwa no beta Ghana okay me dey try to papa John Dramani Mahama say omo no ya de patapa na twa mo fruma anya sa no kai enti we wi ni aba asomdwe mu so sa de patapa ena de aba ti yesre say media mama so mani ene maso di asem ye chi ya make sure say ye nuanu mo mawi ya ye ombenya justice da mo nyina ase onia o question
is it about post election and I say post election violence and I say obi na ewu e ma you no eye the omo ya o police station I need that clarity because you can say na say onia so na we journalist no be sekisa clarity from me wona say go check na wo want me say wona we journalist and I onye journalist to jai say o ask a question maybe say we journalist ote grasa me say ote say BBC sa then see come at me then see
Munji bunko obi kwamde na onye obedi o obi akọ abodam listen say AG no let me tell you if you guys don't take care we will chase you out of this country I swear you out of this country because listen move it with the cyanide hole almost 100 meters square aqua to South Africa cyanide square 100 meters square samiensa to South Africa na Pennyfo di en so na bona. Ana say bona. Yenum di en so a ebe na nipa betwa niam wenum. Enu ni ade a me pese na do te ase. Minister of Lands and Natural Resources say AGAS say Obuasi and the youth of Obuasi rise. Mo sorry. If you say when you go ni bi mpa ndidi a ebe kakra wo kwati bewu.
Ayo kwati wa remember o is the way. That's what they did about the old man. I had to be with but then that is not the people want to get on to but the president of Baya, the state of what's coming from the show. Woodman, no be able to attack the house. Police will not party. The power never. Who protected by the state of one state? Small scale, that is not the example. But the Indian is saying, you're from here, you're also going to yes, no. Never going to say the money here. The best one of us. Nothing is living something. Yes, everybody in their home. Me as a political organizer, I was with you will vote now. You will say Papa said now. Not a cat in the lemon, so we'll take the lemon. Yes, I'm